Today then, honesty and some ideas.
The FujiCast.
Kev, you're not under the dog blanket, are you? Tell me.
No,
good. Actually, you don't need it. Look, yesterday we made you sit under that dog blanket for, 25 minutes, and thinking, oh, this sounds really, really good. But there's no echo in that room at all. You didn't need to. Do you know what I should have done? I should have said, that dog blanket is a saviour. You need to be under that every day for the next 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah, I don't think I could cope with that. No. What did you do yesterday then? What was your day like?
Let me look at my diary. Stayed in. Day before that, stayed in. Tomorrow, staying in. I know.
Yeah. I watched every episode of Jonathan Creek.
Did you? Oh yeah. Last night we myself and Kev. I think your wife. Your wife. I know her name, Gemma. I think Gemma thinks that there's something between you and I because we spend so much time on Messenger. Mm-hmm. You said to me, I don't even remember after your fifth glass of wine or whatever. I'm watching Jonathan Creek.
Yeah, I love it. I've seen them all hundreds of times, and I just thought, well, I'll start again. Great
thing about having a few glasses of wine is all the episodes feel brand new again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, look, I've got a few bits here that I just thought we'd fire through and talk about. And I thought, Kev, if you don't mind, I'm going to make a request for people to share this. I don't care if that sounds overtly commercial. Because hell, we could all do with a bit of help at this time. It's not for money, no. It's, I think, actually stretching the community hand out there for anybody that shoots anything at all, whether it's Sony or Canon or Nikon, Olympus. What have I missed out? Leica. Anything else? Panasonic. Lumix. What else?
I don't know. All the other ones.
Instax.
Minolta.
Polaroid, Minolta. Yeah. I just, for the next 3 months or whatever, and we'll talk about how long this is going to be in a moment. I just thought it'd be really nice to have people around and have communities and all camera flavour users getting in this thing together. Because as I know, there probably is somebody straight away is going to say, oh yeah, you got da. But as I think I know it, there isn't another daily photography podcast quite like this going out at the moment. I'll be proved wrong instantly, obviously.
Well, I don't know. It's certainly not one that I'm aware of anyway. But yeah, I mean, spread the word, guys. Yeah. We're all in this together.
I heard something I've been watching a lot of YouTube, so you've been watching Jonathan Creek, I've been watching YouTube. Levi Allen, are you familiar with Levi Allen at all? Said it on his YouTube channel, I think it was today, the film was today, said, now is a great time to serve people with your time, your encouragement and resources that you have to spare. And I thought that was a really nice sentence today. Think about what you can do as a photographer. Do you have any tech skills where you can join folk together using a solution like Zoom? I haven't used Zoom before, and we're chatting with Steve Vaughan this afternoon, 4:00ish. Going to have a chat with Steve, and he's going to teach me how to use Zoom. And I've noticed a bunch of Facebook groups for photographers popping up to help each other. And we have one locally in my town. We're about an hour west of London, for anybody that's interested. And people are helping each other with facts about the mortgage holiday that the UK government has started to put in place.
So, that's good.
Have you done the mortgage holiday thing? I'm asking a very personal question. You might say, off, Neil.
No. I'm happy to discuss everything as brutally honestly as possible. I think it's important for everybody else. So I have been, well, up until this happened, I've been overpaying my mortgage. So I had a couple of months in reserve, but I've applied today. Nationwide, they've got an online form. You just fill it in, and then it says, "Well, I thought this was quite funny. It's all automated. It's all online." We will send you a letter in the post within 7 days. I'm like, 7 days. So my mortgage payment goes out between now and that 7-day period. So,
Kev, hang on a second. There's a phone call coming in from from Jack's school. Hold on. Hello?
Hi, is that Jack there?
Yes, it is. Oh, just to prove this is real life, there's a slight break in transmission now for a few seconds while we just deal with a local emergency. And as you're just about to find out, that emergency extended to both of us in the end. Although, listen on, because the end of the show isn't quite the end, and I'll just listen. that was a strange one. I ended up taking our Jack to the dentist for some emergency tooth surgery. We packed him off with a packed lunch this morning with the words, "Best not eat in the canteen at the moment, our Jack." And so guess what he did today? He went and bought himself a panini, which apparently was burned around the edges, bit into it, and that's a baby tooth gone. So we've just been to the dentist, and he's had a tooth extraction. So I suppose as a parent I should feel quite, what should I feel? Quite proud to have been there at his first tooth extraction, and the fact that he had to have an injection and now is dribbling water out the side of his mouth. And in the meantime, I come back and say, "Kev, should we continue?" And he says, "Hold on, few issues here now. Albie's got a massive headache and our ceiling is leaking as the pipes under the bath have burst." So I did suggest to Kev that I'll just carry on for the moment. And this, by the way, is proof that we're going to be living this podcast out as real life. I mean, you've just heard it happening, and if I'd be delighted, by the way, because I spoke to Kev about this morning. I know it's difficult for Kev at the weekend, but I said, look, I'm going to carry on doing the daily. I'll do it over the next. I'll do it at the weekends, and we'll do Monday to Friday. And he said, "Yep, that sounds fine." So it would really help now if I had some interaction from you in the way of emails to click at FujiCast.co.uk with some stories, because that'll be easier to obviously. Now I'm doing a sort of solo show for a second while Kev's obviously dealing with his issues, and also if I can get back to some of you and get you on as well and have a chat with you across Zoom or Skype or Zencaster, which is what we use for doing interviews, that'd be fantastic. Where were we? Well, we were talking about. I know we were talking about the nationwide, and I can't spread any more information about that because of course Kev we'll ask him on Monday when we next talk. But I was talking about Levi Allen. It's a great time, he said, to serve people. That's what he said, and I concur. I'm quite keen to do some live reads for the camera companies and shops and stores that we all used prior to this. And whilst we're not all, and that includes me, probably in the business of buying much stuff at the moment, as I don't know the timescales of when this beautiful word called normal returns, I do want to try and serve those that have served me. So if you don't mind, I'm going to mention some companies personally, and Kev, of course, will chip in with some as well, I'm sure, as they have businesses like we all do. They, like us, could do with some outlets too. So we're just one, we're a small one compared to some podcasts and people, but it's this greater cause, this sort of nudge thing that I'm going to hold on to right now. As far as the business goes, we were going to talk about business today. I think resilience is something that's very hard for the arts to have. It sure is a leveller, as I was explaining this morning as I was doing the school run to the boys I was taking in. I was saying, I'm not a key worker. I was saying to one of the lads, your dad's a postman. Needs to get the post out, key worker. And one of the other lads, I said, your mum and dad, they're teachers. They need to be in school at the moment, looking after the children of key workers. They're key workers, they're teachers. And I'm a photographer. And they said, what does that mean? I said, well, not exactly a key worker. But I, as far as I'm concerned, 15 years I've worked thinking that having lots of different clients was very smart as a wedding photographer. While some of my photography friends in editorial working for one newspaper, I thought, bit tricky. Commercial photographers with one or two main clients, I thought, it's like walking a tightrope. But this has proved that, one revenue stream based on one style of shooting and one style of interaction is probably not the way I want to, or maybe realistically can work in the future. So I still love photography. I still love sound. They may not be key worker jobs, but I know that vision, imagery, sound, all these things are going to be needed when this is done. And I'm going to be very honest as well and talk about contracts. Perhaps not today, because this is one I wanted to talk about with Kev. But I messed up a little bit with a contract. I'd written one that worked extremely well when I was photographing between 45 and 80 weddings a year, notwithstanding a pandemic, when suddenly that contract was not so clever. So, but I think I'd like to talk about that when Kev's on the when Kev's back on the show on Monday, probably at this rate. Spoiler alert: he'll be back on soon, sooner than you think. When you go into a restaurant, and I'm going to be careful here because because obviously restaurants are having a tough time as well. And you see, as you walk in the door, you see it's completely empty. And you ask for a table, and the waiter he seems to spend what seems like an earth looking at the bookings book and seeing if he can fit you in. And you're looking around thinking, well, I don't see anybody sitting down at a seat. It turns out next week I may actually have some carefully choreographed, in terms of social distancing, commercial work that involves me, some fresh air, and a location to shoot. But what a strange sentence. Choreographed in terms of social distancing. Anyway, I got asked if I was free, and I felt like that waiter. I didn't want to sound too keen. So I said, hang on a moment, let me look in my calendar, looking deep into the ever so empty calendar. And of course, what a weird, it just feels a bit odd at the moment in terms of that. And so I thought what we'd do over the coming weeks and months is talk about what you can do next. Where your business can go. And we'd love some ideas from you as well, some thoughts that you may have on what you're going to do to practice a bit of resilience when we come out the other side. Anyway, we've got some mails. John Baisley, thank you for yours. Message: I'm listening to the world media talking about all the events being cancelled. Jobs lost, pretty much all normality as we know it, evaporating like a drop of water into a red-hot frying pan. I do read some strange books, mainly on Stoic philosophy. Yes, I'm really that exciting as a person. John, don't tell everyone, but I'm quite into Stoicism too. And actually, I subscribe to a couple of the Stoic channels on YouTube. But you didn't hear that. But there was one thing that, is it Epictetus or Epictetus? Is it pronounced Titus? Epictetus? Said about acting on things that we can't control. Sean Tucker had a YouTube clip on the very same concept, actually. You can look that up on his channel. The only things we can truly control is what we think, what we say, and what we do. Everything else outside of this may have a random, chaotic factor that we can't control. So what do you suggest for photographers who are now struggling with not only the psychological uncertainty, but in a more practical sense, how to supplement their income? I've got to say, John, if I knew that, I'd be doing it now. But I will say this, for wedding photographers, there will be a lot of people, and I'm talking customers, craving some normality. And when it comes back, and it will, there'll be a lot of dates that require photographing because the original photographers, sadly, some may be out of business. Yes, unfortunately, very unfortunately. But there will be those that just now can't squeeze those dates in. So now is the time actually for complete action with regard to your website. Not just to, well, obviously search engine optimization is part of writing a blog. I intend to, I've been talking for forever, I think, to my wife saying, do you know, if I have just 3 or 4 months, nothing to do, I could pretty much relaunch this business. This is not the way I wanted to do it, but I'm seeing that as an opportunity. And anything less than that, and well, I'm going to be wallowing with a glass of red wine for 3 or 4 months, and that won't be good for anybody. But it's the same with portraits and so on. Now is the time to build your website. Work on it. Work on the blogs. Work on make a film that shares your feelings about what you're looking forward to doing when you come back into circulation. Work on your Instagram. For those that feel like they want to. I know not everybody shares my enthusiasm in this because they say you have to have a reason for one. Work on a podcast. If it's a podcast that can help people in the wedding industry, why not? If you have a YouTube channel, make some films. I made one this morning with Gabrielle Matola. Now, we had her on the show as a guest a couple of months ago, or maybe a month ago, on mental health issues. But I made a film earlier today. It's about 30 minutes. Well, we recorded about 45 minutes, but I think it'll be about 30 minutes long. I'm going to edit that, put that on my YouTube channel, and thinking that it might be a nice idea to be able to share time and do hangouts with other photographers on my YouTube channel. So if you'd like to do that, I'd love to hear from you. So write in to click@fujicast.co.uk and watch stuff, consume, learn. It doesn't have to cost money. There's so much stuff on YouTube and Vimeo. Actually, Gabrielle gave me a must-watch film. It's a feature film it's just stills, and it's in black and white and in French. But it's okay. It's got subtitles in Spanish. But it's beautiful to watch. It's called La Jetée. And I'm sure that somebody will tell me off for my bad pronunciation. 1962 film made by Chris Marker. It is worth a watch. Look it up on Vimeo. If you're into still photography, if you're into black and whites, definitely watch it. Right. Another letter, email. Thank you, Peter Rusco. Thanks for going daily, guys. I can't tell you how much I was pleased to see new episode pop up in Overcast. I thought, hang on, this isn't Monday, but in this brave new world, anything seems possible, and it seems to be so. So thanks for making the effort. Not a great time for this to happen to anyone, especially me, doubly so. I've only been in business for just over 14 months in school photography. Summer semester ball, leaving pictures with holiday pictures for November and December, my most important times of the year, and I've just lost seemingly half my business. So I'm working from home to build what I can. I've been on the phone a lot, and those connections are helping me maintain good relationships. It's early days, and people may not always feel like taking calls, but I've found actually communication is so important in keeping me connected with those customers I will eventually need again. So I thought I'd chip in with that as an idea. Call somebody. Go FujiCast, we're with you. So thank you very much, Peter. It's very kind of you to write him. And that reminded me of something I listened to only this morning on my morning walk. Here's a YouTube film for you this evening, okay? Pat Flynn, who is a business and life coach, business coach. I like him, actually, and he runs a really successful YouTube channel and also has a website and shares some, I think, decent ideas, decent thoughts. And he's one of those. I know there's a lot of coaches around. I know I saw your eyes go to the ceiling when I mentioned the word coach. I did. I saw it. But honestly, trust me, Pat Flynn is worth a watch, and he's doing daily stuff at the moment. And he was talking. He had 10 ideas. I'm going to praise he just 8 actually, but he had 10 ideas of how to work from home, which I thought was really good. And I made some notes. Get into a morning routine. There is this number one. There's a rhythm going to work every day, and if you're at home, that rhythm is lost. So own a routine, and it could involve for some folks, obviously the kids. So set an alarm. I thought this was a really important one. Get changed into normal clothes. I think that's really important. We're going to instill that one from next week. Our kids are at home, full-timers from next week. And we're going to instill that we get up in the morning, we do the normal stuff. Monday to Friday is normal stuff. We get up, it might not be 6:30, it will be for me because I have a morning routine that starts at 5:30. But for them, fine, 7 o'clock, 7:30 max. Then we're up, cooking breakfast, get changed in our clothes, get on with the day. I know a lot of parents are talking about having a PE session first of all. And funnily enough, Kev was talking about this on Messenger to me earlier on. So, that's my suggestion. Number 2, find a spot to work in. Get a familiar place. Now, I'm lucky because I've been working at home for quite a while. I've got a separate room away from the family where that is my workplace. But for many that don't work from home usually, who may have been working out of a photo studio or an office somewhere in town, you almost need to punch into a place that is your place of work, definitely. So wherever that is, it's a corner of the living room or maybe the bathroom, I don't know. But you need to find a spot to work in. I thought that was good content. Don't work when you shouldn't, i.e. do have a cut-off. Now, personally, I still don't have this right. Personally, I that cutoff does, I should turn the office lights off and go, but I don't, and I can't, and I struggle with that one. So I don't have it right. But he's right. I think you should have a cutoff. Don't work when you shouldn't. And I think particularly at this time when communication and being together is important. Don't become disparate within your own home. He said, plan what you're going to do. Work on stuff that matters. Be flexible, though, because you're going to be interrupted. That's very true. You heard a very good example of that right at the start of today's show. I was interrupted. I had to go and pick Jack up from school. Emergency dental operation, tooth extraction. He's sitting there dribbling water outside of his right-hand mouth, the right-hand side of his mouth now. That's just life. That's life normally, actually, but that's going to happen a lot, I'm sure, as the weeks and months go on. So, but plan what you're going to do. Work on stuff that matters. I think that's really important. I personally am going to be working a lot on the website, making YouTube videos. Not all this stuff, by the way, you don't have to think of it. I mean, YouTube, for me, I'm a small YouTuber. I have 6,500 subs compared to Kev with his 30K and building. That's, I'm small minnow to that. But nothing, it doesn't have to have a price tag attached to it. And what it can do is in particular, people are using YouTube to have some sort of form of seeing what the world is doing and keeping in touch with other people and watching what's going on. Then I think now is a good time to be concentrating and doubling down on the YouTube channel and stuff like that. So plan what you're going to do. I have a list myself, and I'm going to run through that list. It feels like I'm employed by myself. Yeah, I'm on a 0 contract hour, but I'm employed by myself, and I intend to make that list work for me. Eat well. Yeah, I agree with Pat on that particular one. It's going to be too easy to visit the tuck shop cupboard. Too easy. But Sam contacted me just a little while back to say, look, I've been to the shops and guess what? Nothing's there again, which is so annoying. And of course, yesterday we mentioned Scott Morrison, the Australian PM. Listen, people.
Stop hoarding.
Yes.
I can't be more blunt about it.
Please do.
Stop it.
Stop it. Honestly. I'm just not sure when this message is going to drive home. One of the worst things, I think, we talked about this yesterday, the nudge principle, is that people put pictures up on social media of empty shelves, and that drives the herds to actually clear the rest of this stuff off. Ridiculous. Say it again, Scott.
Stop hoarding.
Yes, stop.
I can't be more blunt about it.
Exactly.
Stop it.
Stop it. And I'm talking to you, and I know you're not doing that sort of thing. But honestly, I think actually I've been saying with the nudge principle that we should start to really put our pictures up of our grocery basket that's sensibly packed. Because if that thing starts to do the rounds, then people share their groceries that have, their baskets that equally have, just what they need. And I'm not really honestly sure. I mean, the fruit and veg has all disappeared. This stuff, this doesn't last. It's perishable. What are people going to do with a mountain of fruit and veg that goes rotten in a week's time? Honestly.
Stop hoarding.
Yes, stop it.
I can't be more blunt about it.
One more time.
Stop it.
Yes. Take breaks. I thought that was a really good suggestion from Pat. Take breaks. Yeah, I must admit I've not been good at that this week, but we're in the early days of this nonsense. So, take breaks. So, taking a walk, really good. Health and fitness, we're told, during this particular outbreak. Health and fitness is very important. Being, connected with your body. So take breaks, go out, walk, do something. Very important. Control how you consume the news. And how often. Now that one's been really difficult for me because I've had the BBC website, which was always my go-to, and I don't know why, because sometimes the sensationalism within it and the writing and we've given you a little bit of hearty news. Now let's bend you over and smack you over the backside with something really nasty. Now I'm not suggesting that you have to have your head in the sand. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I do think the sensationalism around at the moment is just suffocating. So I have started to control how much I consume the news. I've turned off notifications for the BBC. In fact, let me just throw it over there. Gone. Turned off notifications for the BBC. No way am I going to listen to any notifications or see any notifications from people like Sky News. No, I'm not going anywhere near that. I will go and consume the news, but I shall do that in my time when I want to look at it and when I feel I need to be informed, rather than this constant stream of notifications. So I thought that was a really good point from Pat. And then connect and communicate with people. Might be one of the most important things. Skype, Zoom. We need to connect with other people or pick up a phone. There's FaceTime too. Communicate. And actually that communication, I think, is going to be vital over the next 3 months. And that really, I suppose that ends today's podcast, which is odd because I've been without my right arm. Kev, come back. But I know that Kev's having to deal with Alps. He's got a terrible headache, and also the pipes look like they've burst at his place as well. It never rains, but it pours quite, sorry for the pun, but quite literally in Kev's case there. So over the weekend, I'd like to talk to you some more. So it would do me a lot of good, actually, and I'd like to actually communicate with you. There we are. We end on a point saying communicate with people. Let's actually communicate. So if you would like to communicate and be on the show and share your stories and share your thoughts, then please, I'd love to hear from you. Write to click@fujicast.co.uk. I'm going to dive in the Facebook group now as well, and see what's going on in there, and see if there's some connections I can make with people that might want to appear on the show over the weekend. That would be nice. Maybe we'll link up with Kev as well, just very quickly. He's got lots of family stuff at the weekend. I know he really wants to spend that time with family, and I do, by the way, as well. Just I get up a bit earlier than Kev. So that's it. Do you know, years ago, just in closing, I worked, as you know, as a radio presenter. Loved that job. I loved the way of life, and I still do. And here, and I used to say, do you know what I really would like to do? One day I'd like to host my own chat show. But I always personally felt either not clever enough, true, not informed enough, true, and also I wouldn't be able to actually be a voice on a stick for any more than 2 or 3 minutes. So maybe this has proved to me that anything is possible at times when they're the most difficult. Anyway, catch up tomorrow.
Hi, this is Jack. You must have been worrying about me, but I would like to tell you that I'm absolutely fine. Even though I can't really talk properly or eat properly, I'm pretty much fine. Okay. Oh, Kev's appeared again.
You know my favourite detective show, by the way, Kev, is Columbo. Possibly because I dress like him. Just one more thing. Yeah. Just one more thing. Look, Kev's back. I just finished my monologue show, thinking, hell's bells, I'm going to go back into radio and do a monologue piece every day. I'm going to work for LBC. I love this shit. And then you've come back.
yeah, we had a few domestic dramas.
What happened? So, I mean, obviously we had Jack with his tooth thing. I explained that in the podcast just a moment ago. He's just had his first extraction.
Well, I turned around and there was water. Well,
literally as we finished.
Yeah. Well, Gemma and the kids came home from a dog walk.
Yeah.
I turned around and there was water pissing through the ceiling.
What?
Yeah. So we Gemma being all things great, had to. We took the bath apart. We went underneath it. We figured out that the waste pipe was the filter had gone or the seal had gone. So off she went to the plumbing shop, got it, fitted it, did it.
What did you do? She's gone off to the plumbing. I tell you what, your Gemma's like she's an angel. Angel Gemma. What were you doing?
I was basically stood there with my phone using the torch so she could see what she was doing, and I even managed to cut myself doing that. I don't know how, but I did.
How's Albie though?
He's all right. Yeah, he's having a pizza now.
Oh, so he's definitely all right if he's eating pizza.
Yeah,
Did he perk up a bit with the pizza?
Yeah, he's all good. Pizza does amazing things for Albie.
Yeah, poor old Jack can't be eating pizza tonight.
Oh no, bless him. Yeah. So what happened? He just had an infected tooth.
His little baby tooth is in the lower gum was just is due to come out. And he's got his little one under his adult tooth underneath is pushing up, and it was very, very apparently very, very sharp. The baby tooth. Feel like I want to go into the song, baby, and yeah. So he had to have that taken out, and it was the teacher at school, by the way. She's great, but she was useless at the same time. She doesn't like blood. So she will shoot him out as quick as she could. So yeah, took him for an emergency thing at the dentist. They were brilliant. Put him straight in the chair. Gave him some knockout stuff. No, not knockout. They don't do it anymore, do they? Some anaesthetic, which he found quite weird, and now he's dribbling out the side of his mouth.
I say it's just like me most days, to be honest with you.
But that's not because of wine or beer. God dear, what a show, Kev.
Yeah, brilliant. Woohoo. And it's only day 2.
This is the weirdest show yet. We ended. I did my famous monologue thinking I'll go back into radio, and you appeared again. I knew we couldn't shake you off too easily.
I'm like a fairy.
A what?
A fairy.
Why are you like a fairy?
Well, they just appear, don't they? You do believe in them, right?
Of course I do, yeah. And the Tooth Fairy, definitely. Believe in the Tooth Fairy and all those things that come with it.
The Tooth Fairy will have to give Jack about 50 quid today.
Yeah. Well, that's the dentist said that. Said, I'm sure the Tooth Fairy gives not coins but paper for extractions. They'll shut you. Be quiet. So let's do some questions, Kev. Where should we go? Mark Dell. Gents, I've been very lucky to get an early copy of the wonderful X100V. Lucky you. Neither myself or Kev have one yet, do we? No. I don't. Do you? No, you don't. Oh. One thing I note that isn't mentioned currently is the similarity to the original X Pro 1. I've seen superb micro details and the colour science seems smooth as. Long-term Fuji user, can you perhaps discuss this? Is it? I would have thought the sensor's completely different. How can that even compare?
Well, the sensor will be the same one that's in the XT 3 and 4 and X Pro 3. That's the same sensor. However, the thing that was always a little bit kind of different with the X100 is the lens, because the lens itself has its own characteristics. So I haven't used it, so I really don't know. Yeah. But it will have some. It will basically, using an X100V will not give you exactly the same images as a X Pro 3 with the 23mm lens on it, because the actual rendering of the X100 lens itself is going to have an impact on the image itself.
Are you going to buy an X100V? I know at the moment, maybe. And what you'll hear when you listen back to this podcast, the bit that you weren't when you were holding a wrench in one hand and Gemma's sanity in the other. We've just bought a whole new waste system for our bath.
That's
exactly what you wanted to be spending your money on at the moment, wasn't
it? That's taken priority for the time being. Yeah.
Oh dear! I bet you were able to get those from the hardware store. They're not running short, are they?
No, that was all good. Yeah, they were straight in. Only £12.
Plenty of U-bends, or we can live on U-bends. Anyway, Nigel Haywood wrote an email in here. Hi chaps, loving the podcast. Keep up the good work. Yada 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 yada. This was written on the 16th, so a couple of days ago. Doesn't a lot change, as you'll find out within a few days, with regard to his question. I have a two-part question about COVID-19 and then Nick Turpin YouTube videos. So we'll go for the COVID-19 first. Firstly, have either of you experienced any COVID? I'm saying this with a wry smile. Have either of you experienced any COVID-19 cancellations or issues relating to the outbreak?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them. In all seriousness, though, Kev, when's your first one?
When was it meant to be?
Well, when was it supposed to be? It was May, wasn't it? But now.
No. So I had this tomorrow. Tomorrow being Saturday the 23rd.
You had one. Yeah.
No, actually, hold on a second. No, I had a wedding today in Amsterdam, Friday the 20th of March.
Sorry, yeah, I apologise. Last week you were supposed to be in Germany, and this week you're supposed to be in Holland, weren't you?
No, the Germany one is in a couple of weeks' time. So both of those went.
Right.
So today I should have been in Amsterdam.
For heaven's sake.
2 weeks' time in Germany, or 3 weeks' time, or whatever it is, early April, I think. That's gone. Luckily, I didn't have anything else in April. I mean, I had a whole load of workshops. They've gone. I had the photography show. That's gone. I had a lot of work lined up from Fujifilm workshops and stuff. Yeah. They've gone. And then May weddings, some of them have postponed. Some of them have just said, we're just not, we're cancelling. June, and in fact in July, some of them have done it for July. June also, one I think at the moment is postponed. But in all cases, they are. I have to be empathetic of their situation as well as they need to be empathetic of mine.
I think sounding compassionate towards your couples is good. I know of a venue, no names, no pat drill, that are being Well, I mean, I've got to accept the fact that they're probably having a rough time, but they just are not moving. They're not shifting on their position at all with couples. If you owe your money now for June, you got to pay your money now for June.
Well, they're not even offering to move it to say June next year.
There's a big
change the date.
Yeah, there's a big cancellation fee if you do so.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like what? Oh, I'm going to do this. Grrr.
No, I tell you what, we'll bring on our friend Scott.
Stop hoarding. I can't be more blunt about it.
Stop doing it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's right. Good old Scott.
I need to change his voice there for stop the cancellation policies. I can't stress it. Stop it. Anyway, next question. So I think the answer to that is, I mean, the 4 days of 24 hours is a lot in the news at the moment, let alone 4 days, but...
there was another part you said.
Yeah, there was, yeah. Leaving that topic to one side. Yes, throw that to one side. Do you know how Nick Turpin films and takes photos at the same time? How is that possible? Is it witchcraft?
No, I do know exactly how he does it because I do it myself. He will be using something like a Ninja external HDMI recorder.
Right.
So you plug the HDMI recorder in, you set the camera to output HDMI to the HDMI recorder, and you can record the heads-up display, if you like, the OVF, while it's going. So that's how you do it. You do need a pretty expensive HDMI recorder, not just a HDMI monitor, but a HDMI recorder, one that can record video. So something like a Ninja Fire, I think, is the one that I have.
Are you going to do some more? Because I liked it when you did that.
Maybe I'll just have to sell it along with everything else.
God. Okay. What's going to happen to the GFX? Oh.
No. We'll get through this, and we will, and we will do more stuff like that with the videos. It's a neat little feature actually, having that HDMI out, because you can do a lot of educational stuff with it as well. Cool.
Wasn't there a camera that in the Fuji lineup that you can't use that on now? I thought we were talking about something.
X Pro 3. X Pro 3 you can't.
Of course, X Pro 3 you can't.
There's no HDMI out.
Yeah.
X100F you could, I think. XT range you can, because obviously it's a real video centric feature. Certainly with the XH cameras as well, but the X Pros don't think so.
Friday night tonight, Kev.
I'm going to start on Midsummer Murders tonight. I'm going to go all the way back to John Nettles, episode 1.
I love John Nettles.
I think there's about 63 episodes. They've got a new series on right now, Midsummer Murders. Brilliant. Love it.
John Nettles still isn't in that, is he?
No, he's not in it anymore. He left years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And, I always laugh because Midsummer, all the people around the world, apart from those in the UK, and probably many of those, are thinking, what the fanny are they talking about? But Midsummer Murders is a little bit like Malmesbury, Midsummer's. Yeah. Midsummer Norton, I think it's called in the show.
Right.
And, it's got its own little local airport, its own little local wine place. It's got its own little nunnery. It's got everything. It's got everything. And Malmesbury's a bit like that.
Well, you've got, Campbell's just down the road from you, so you kind of got your own airport, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got everything. Yeah.
So night in again, and tomorrow night.
What are you doing?
And the night. Well, I'm going to have a night in, I think. What are we going to do? I might go. We've got a really nice bottle of red. Couldn't get any groceries. Obviously, there's although we did find some. There's beef, but that's not going to be any good for you. So we found beef. We found there's no fruit and veg, unless you want to eat mango. For some reason,
where'd that mango?
The hoarders don't like mango, and the hoarders, it seems, don't like Oatly milk, and that's my favourite milk. So we're going to live on a diet of red wine, mango, and Oatly milk.
I have to say, we haven't. The shops are a lot more bare than usual. But by and large, I'm still managing to get my beer and wine every day. I've not noticed the food aisles, but I'm sure there's stuff there.
Have you not been down the food aisles? God, I tell you what, we're laughing again. It's that defence mechanism. I was talking to Gabrielle about this earlier on. But anyway, look, we're not talking over the weekend, are we? Unless you feel like you want to pop on at some stage and say, "Oh, I'm here."
We'll see.
But we'll see. But we'll talk again. No, Monday's the main episode, isn't it? So Monday. So we're going to talk on the FujiCast daily on Tuesday, but the main episode is on Monday. The longer episode is on Monday. So it's all carrying on. I'll talk to you anyway later on while you're watching Midsummer. I thought you were going on to proper sort of horror movies, that you'd moved away from Midsummer. But
yeah, well, I did, didn't I? I did Jonathan Creek all day yesterday. They're terrifying. Have you seen those?
That is not horror.
Oh, my God. Some of them are really scary.
The FujiCast is an independent loading zone production. Email the show with your questions and words of wisdom to click@fujicast.co.uk. Email any complaints and political nonsense to our wives, who will deal with your comments in their own good time and in their own good way.